Hi, everyone. This is Greg again. Another episode of Unbreakable Spirits. Hopefully, to lift your spirits, give you a little smile there, something to think about, maybe share some hope and inspiration with you. That's why we're here. Um, I was thinking the other day, I told you about, um, I had my semi-annual checkup down in Philadelphia with my great medical geneticist, Dr. Kalish, and everything's going well. But I forgot to tell you this part. Um, Going down in the elevator to the parking garage. Um, we shared the elevator with a young couple, and they looked like they were no more than maybe their late 20s, early 30s. Very, very nice kids, and they had a little boy with them in a almost looked like a homemade baby carriage or stroller. Plenty of room in there to stretch his legs. And he looked like just any normal kid, around 2 years old, 3 years old. And it struck me that going down in the elevator with these guys, how that was my mom and my dad. That was my parents. Oh, maybe around 1958, 1959. Uh, that was them. A young couple with a little boy who was sick and needed to go to the hospital. So, it struck me that there's this young couple, they, just starting out in the world, probably just got married, probably just had this little boy. Who knows how many more kids they have. Um, and what a scary thing it is to have a kid who's sick. So I thought of my parents and thought about how brave they were, how courageous they were. You know, they had other kids at the time, four other kids. I'm the second to the youngest. Uh, I can only imagine what it was like for them to be told that your soon to be 2 year old has a incurable uh, disease condition, and all the uncertainty that went with that. You know, Osteogenesis imperfecta has no cure, and usually, depending on the severity of the OI, um, kids don't make it very far out of childhood. Um, the average lifespan of someone with my severity of OI is 25 years. So it had to be really, uh, really shocking for them to sit down with my doctor at the time, Dr. Nicholson, and he explained to them what brittle bones is and what osteogenesis imperfecta is and what the prognosis was. Um, back in the late 50s, early 60s, not much was known about OI. There weren't computers to reference it. There were only a handful of doctors in the world who really knew what OI was, how to cope with it, how to work with it, you know. Um, and my parents were talking to one of the doctors who knew, and I'm sure he told them the truth. And this is what lies ahead of you for the foreseeable future. A future of you, little boy, fracturing over and over and over and over again, breaking bones, by sneezing, coughing, turning over to sleep, um, in every way you can imagine. And I can just imagine what they must have been going through. Now they did have the option, they had the option of uh, putting me into a place where I would be cared uh, for the rest of my life, or take me home. And I think they made the courageous decision to take me home. Well, my mom was a nurse. She was a practical nurse. Gave up a nursing career when I was born, and when they found out that I had little bones. So she sacrificed a lot for me. And my dad, was just a working class guy. I mean, he was worked at a tire factory nearby. He was the typical lunch pail guy. He worked overtime, weekends, just to make ends meet. He was just a regular guy. So you find out that, all of a sudden, this kid comes into your life that he's got this very rare condition that no one can do anything about. It can't be cured. There's a possibility he's going to die in childhood. And in the meantime, there's a whole bunch of suffering and pain and things like that down the road. So I can only imagine they're thinking of all this, of all everything that's going to happen down the road, as explained to by this really famous doctor. And yet they made the brave decision to take care of him. So I'm forever grateful for them for making that decision. It couldn't have been easy on them. And they did the best they could. They did a fantastic job. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my parents. So, my mom took care of me when I was in body cast, when I broke a lot of bones and was in a cast up to my neck, and she would feed me and help with my toileting needs and washing and dressing. She did it all for me, There was the constant concern. Am I going to break a bone? Getting out of the cast. It would seem like the routine. I would break the bone, be in a cast for about 6 weeks, abandon a cast, go home, maybe have some time where I was fracture free, and then all of a sudden everything would repeat again. And it was just very I just sort of went with the flow back then. I didn't really know any better. To me, I thought this was the way life was supposed to be. And my mom and dad just sort of rolled with the flow too. This is what God gave them, and they accepted it and just deal with it, move on. My mom had a lot of faith. She prayed a lot. I think that's what helped her get her through. My dad had faith too, but I don't think as much as my mom. My dad just looked at it in a different way. He used a lot of humor, and he got me interested in sports, especially baseball. And I love music. And, I had a really close bond. And when I was able to, when I wasn't breaking bones, he would take me to the ballpark with him. Tried to get my mind off of my situation, and tried to get me out too, because my situation, it was a lot of stay indoors and homebound things. And I didn't make many friends, get to see many people. I had a lot of visitors come and visit me, and a lot of people who were praying for me, get well cards and things like that, which I always appreciated. They really do help, when you're sick. It really helps to know that people or thinking about being praying for or rooting for. So I wanted to show you something there. This was a little change purse my mom had, and she kept it with her all the time. And when she was in the nursing home, she had this with her. She would put everything in here, tissues, and she had a little date book where she had everyone's birthday written down, anniversaries. She was always one to send greeting cards and get well cards and things like that. She was very thoughtful in that way. And she had her prayer book here, but here was a little wallet, and she had family pictures here, including yours truly there. With my little butterscotch jacket on there, flat jacket and bow tie. Seemed like I wore that all the time when I was a kid. And yeah, when I met Bobby Rydell, flat jacket. When I was in the newspaper because my dog Tiny was lost, and all of Phoenixville were looking for Tiny, my companion. They took the picture in the newspaper, butterscotch jacket. When I would go up and sing for the nuns, my parish, the nuns, and sing. I invented karaoke, by the way, but I never took credit for it. Anyway, I would go up and sing the Bobby Rydell record, Elvis Presley records in the early 60s. My mom would take a little record player up there to the convent, stack of 45s, and I would perform for about an hour for these circle of nuns around me. And here I would be singing, you ain't nothing but a hound dog. And the nuns would be flabbergasted. Now, I think they thought I was cute, and that was their form of entertainment Sunday afternoons. They must have been pretty hard up for entertainment back in those days, I'll tell you that. But anyway, my mom would always say, oh, I think I was just maybe a little reluctant to do it, even though I was kind of a ham back then too. Because I remember my mom said, oh, go ahead and do it, sing for the nuns. You'll get to heaven, something like that. Anyway, so I did my little karaoke thing. And along with all those pictures, I could see one. There's a picture of my parents as young people, having been first met. Isn't it interesting? You probably feel the same way. We never really think of our parents as being young. Our parents were children too. Our parents did the same thing we did as kids. Went to school, rode bikes, played ball, with dolls, or whatever the case may be. Our parents dated and fell in love, and got married, and all the things most of us do, And when you see pictures like this, you're reminded that, gee, I folks were people do. But that kind of brings it home. But no matter what, I'm getting older and I'm forgetting stuff, I'll be the first one to admit it. As we all are, right? And my dad died in 1977, so that's quite a few years ago. Not very good at math, but I believe that's 46 years ago, something like that. Anyway, and I'm starting to forget him a little bit. I don't want to forget him. And there are still, I was a teenager when he died, and there are still memories of him, how we went to Phillies games together, how he carried me down the steps in the stadium to our seats, the old time stadiums were not accessible to people with disabilities, certainly not to a wheelchair. And so he carried me everywhere. He carried me everywhere in our world when I was growing up. Steps, 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 inaccessible. It was like I lived in it was very, very foreign to me. Everywhere I went was inaccessible. I was literally trapped on my own block. If I was healthy enough to get around, I couldn't because of the physical barriers all around me. So in lieu of that, I don't remember having a wheelchair until I was maybe a teenager. Before that, my dad carried me up on his shoulder, carried me like a just. I just remember being on his shoulder and carrying me everywhere around, church, everywhere. And so I remember, taking me up to the bowling alley every week. He was a great bowler and was in a league of, and I would go up every Sunday to watch him bowl and keep score, and just to kind of get out and see everybody. It was, I look forward to it every week. And so those were the things I remember. And my dad, and he was just the sort of guy that you want to sit down and have a beer with, and he was just he was quiet, but he was friendly guy. And so I want to remember him, but I slowly forget. So, but I'll never forget how courageous he was in accepting my fate, accepting me, and taking care of me. Same way with my mom. She died 10 years ago, and I miss her. And of course, I remember her. I remember her much more than my dad because she died in 2013. He died a long time before. And I can never forget certain things about my mom, how she was always just so kind. We talk about kindness matters and we need more kindness in the world. If I had to describe her in one word, it would be kind. She was just a nice person who thought of other people, and she would always come second. But to me, she always comes first, and she always will. So, when I saw this young couple down at Penn riding down on the elevator with me and Holly, immediately I thought of my parents, and this is what they must have been like, young and happy, but concerned, apprehensive about the future. So, and that's why I wrote my book, An Unbreakable Spirit, for my parents. There's so many people I wanted to write about. That's one of the reasons why I wrote the book, was to let whoever reads it, let them know how special certain people were in my life, how many people touched my life. And I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for them. Not only doctors and nurses and friends and family, but my parents too, and what they meant to me. So that's the book. I also wanted to mention about how important it is to spread kindness and be good to one another, because you just never know, down the road uh, what's going to happen. And you heard the old expression, pay it forward, pay it forward. That's true. That's very true. Because in time, everybody pays it forward. And there's that next person who benefits from you paying it forward. You know, I remember hearing that one story about what was going on was, I don't know, people were in a drive-through, they were in line, maybe at McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, one of those places. And somebody just had the idea of, see that next car behind me, I'm paying for their breakfast too. And they would get up to the window and they would say, okay, let's not break the chain, let's keep it going. I'm paying for the people behind me for their breakfast, and so on and so forth. We need that in life, you know. There's just so much craziness going on in life sometimes, with politics and with the environment in scary times that we live in, you know. And we just need to be good to each other. And so basically that's what I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to share those memories of my parents, my mom. We make these big spaghetti dinners every Sunday, this huge bowl of long spaghettis with meatballs, salad. Every Sunday we have such a good time. And my family, we were poor. We weren't rich, that's for sure. But my parents did the best they could. We always had enough to eat, and my parents did the best they could to make us happy. And I remember the fondest times when I was a kid were with my parents and my family, and just watching TV together, or sharing those Sunday dinners, or going out for ice cream in the summertime. Those are the things. Those are the things that matter most of all, and those are the things you'll remember most of all as the years go by. So savor those moments right now, savor them, and don't forget, never forget for the people who are good to you. Okay, well, everybody, take care. Have a great day. Katie, are you going to come in and say hello to me? To us? I guess not. She's just talking. She probably hears somebody at the door, so that's my cue to make like a tree and get out. So I'll catch you guys soon. God bless. Take care for now. Bye-bye.